What's up guys, this is Casey and I'm bringing you another Blender tutorial for the week. Sorry it has been a little while, I've been quite busy lately, but I had a request for a Blender tutorial on how to make a sword in Blender. And I've never really done this before. I've never had the desire to make a sword. I find that most people, they hop into Blender and that's the first thing they make, so I wanted to be different. But I take your guys' requests, so here we go. This is the sword that we're going to be making, and I don't want to show you what it looks like while it's rendered just yet. I want you guys to be delightfully surprised at the very end of this. The blade looks a little not straight because I did some tweaking to it, but that's okay. Anyways, let me start up a new Blender file for you guys. And if you're not in Cycles Render, you might want to be in Cycles Render. So the very first thing we want to do is hit X, delete our cube. And let me turn on my screencast keys for you. There we go. So I'm going to hit 1 on my numpad to go to my front view, and 5 on the numpad for orthographic view. So now I'm going to hit Shift A, add a mesh plane. Rotate that on the X-axis by 90 degrees. And this is going to be the blade for our sword. So right off the bat, I'm just going to tab into edit mode, and I'm going to actually select that whole thing, and I'm going to scale this on the X-axis, bring that in something about there. And now that I have that, I want to go down here and I want to actually hit this little magnet button, and that's going to actually snap to the grid that you see in the background. You don't have to, but I just find that it's a quicker way because we're about to extrude. So extrude, you'll see it goes by increments. So we're at 2 increments here. We might as well keep two increments for each segment. So let's just keep extruding here. 2 increments, 2 increments, 2, 2, and we'll go right about there. And this is going to be the base of our sword. So we have a bunch of these equal parts, all snapped, so that they're very, very, very equal. So now I'm going to turn that magnet back off, but I want to turn on my proportional editing. So I'm going to enable that. It is default set to smooth, and that is, I believe, what we're going to want here. So let's go ahead and grab the top of our 2 vertices on the top here, and we're going to grab that on the X-axis, and I want to use my mouse wheel kind of scroll this up as much as possible. Actually, do I? Is it right about here? There? No, that's going to give me a weird wonky kind of effect. Let's see. I didn't do it this way last time, so bear with me here, guys. There we go. Nope, that's not it either, because that's not round. What should I do? Here? Aha, here we go. Now we're talking. So I am on sharp. Instead of smooth, I'm on sharp for proportional editing. So grab that on the X-axis, and I'm just going to pull this, I don't know, let's go 2 increments. I guess if you wanted to keep your magnet on, you could probably do that. Let me see if that works. Ooh, it actually does. So I just went 2 increments to the right. Boom, there we go. So now that I have the curvature of my blade, I'm going to hit W, merge, at center. Maybe not. That is not great. Okay, let me select this one first, that one last. W, merge, at first. Aha! There we go. So, since I messed that one up, let me show you guys what I did. I selected my right side first, or the side that's on the inside of our curve, and then I hold shift and select my left side, or the side on the outside of my blade. I hit W, merge at first, and that'll just merge that right over there to the side. Okay, so we have the basic shape of our blade. That was really simple, right? So let's go ahead and turn our proportional editing off and turn our magnet off. And now what we want to do is we want to select the outside of our blade. All of these vertices, I'm holding Control, left click, and that's just giving me a lasso select tool. And I'm going to extrude. And let's see, it's not going to give me a full extrude here, so let me extrude it on the x-axis, I suppose. I just want to extrude it just a little bit, right about there, I guess. And I want to, for these two, this is kind of a judgment call, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this on the x-axis and just pull this in a little bit, maybe about halfway. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. So let me just grab this on the x-axis. And I'm going to pull this one in real close. Actually, should I merge that? Should I merge it? Let's merge it. Let's go to the this button down here that looks like two arrows pointing to each other. That's going to merge vertices together when you get them close enough. So if I zoom way in on this, you can see. I'm going to grab that on the x-axis. Pull it right into that vertex here. And it's not close enough. You gotta be really, really precise. So I'm zooming way in here, grabbing that on the x-axis, pull it to the vertex. Now you see it all light up as soon as it grabs that on the correct point. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Okay, trying to figure out how I did this before. Okay, I remember. Alright, so let's go ahead and select our whole thing. I did a box select, I don't know why. You could have just hit the A button. I'm going to go to my side view by hitting numpad 3. And I'm going to extrude this. Not a whole lot, just a bit. That might be too much. Is that too much, you think? Too much, maybe? Nah, we'll let it go. That's okay. Okay, so now that we have that, for the tip, we want to do the same thing again. So select the outside, inside, W, merge at first. And that's going to give us that nice solid point right at the tip. Now what we want to do, whoops, is we want to select the rest of these vertices here. And keep going. Grab those. And alright, let's hope that that works. So I'm going to hit Control 1 on my numpad, and that's going to bring me to the back view. If you hit Control on one of your numpads, it brings you to the opposite view of what you normally would get. Grab the back side here, and hopefully this works. So W, merge, not going to let it. Not going to make it work. It is not going to let that work, is it? Not going to do it. Nope. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to do this manually. So let's go ahead and grab these two, W, merge at center. Grab these two, W, merge at center. Grab these, W, merge at center. W, merge at center. W, merge at center. W, merge at center. And merge at center. Got one more. Whoop, I removed doubles. Merge at center. There we go. Okay, so it looks like our blade is completely finished. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so obviously you can tell that from certain point of views this gets really dark. That means our normals are not correct. That means the lighting is going to be off, the shading will be off. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and select everything with our A key, go Mesh, Normals, and recalculate outside. Boop. And it should immediately get lighter. If for some reason it does not get lighter, go Mesh, Normals, recalculate inside. Most of the time that'll fix the problem. If not, you might have to go through individual parts of it and just flip the normals to make it correct. It's just something you're going to have to play around with. But let me tab out of edit mode. And looking fairly good, except I think this is a little too high. Let me see if I can't just maybe bring this down something like Like that. Ha! Now we're looking more like a katana. It's got more of a flatter edge on the top instead of a big long pointy edge. Okay, so what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to smooth shade it. And you'll see that that almost kind of ruins it, but that's fine. That is exactly what we want it to do for right now. Whoa! Is it just me, or is that point way off? Way off. Okay, what happened here? Let's pull this, whoops, pull that on the y-axis a bit. Just try and get it, yeah, right about there. Okay, much better. Now we're looking good. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to go to our modifiers tab. It looks like a little wrench over here, and add a subdivision surface modifier. Boop. And as you can see, it kind of ruins a lot of the shape of our blade, especially if we go to 2. We don't want 2, we just want 1. So make sure you click your render to 1. I think it's set to 2 to default. Now obviously this has collapsed our point, our tip, and we don't want that. So let's tab back into edit mode. Let's select all of these vertices here. No. Just select these vertices. Okay, let me do that for you one more time. Okay, so we need these 3 here, and this tip here. There we go. Now we're going to go down here and click Mesh, and Edges, and we're going to mark, Edge Crease. Edge Crease. And you just want to drag your mouse, without hitting any buttons, to the right, and you will see, boom! Ta-da! Now be warned, the first time I did this, I did not realize that as soon as you click on the edge crease, it's going to go with your mouse movement. So just keep moving your mouse around the screen and see if your object changes. If it does not, no matter how many times you move your mouse, then you did something wrong. And if you drag it all the way to the right, it should mark it sharp. And if you drag it to the left, it'll go back to being kind of wonky looking again. That's kind of really hard to explain, but I hope you guys understand. Anyways, we're going to add just a little bit of a flare to this blade. So let's tab into edit mode again. And we're going to loop cut it lengthwise twice. Right like that. And let's go to our face select mode and select all of the faces we just created right up that side of the blade and right down the other side of the blade. You might be able to get lucky and hold Alt and right click. If you know what I'm talking about, give it a shot, but it messes up too much. It's easier to do it this way. Anyways, you don't need to pay attention to that part if you don't know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit the E key to extrude, but we're going to immediately hit the right click so that it's not moved, it's sitting directly over the top of our other shape. But we're going to now scale it on the y-axis. We're just going to pull that in right about there. And while we're at it, let's also make this one sharp. So edges, edge crease, pull it to the right, boom. So now you see we have this nice beveled edge going all the way down our blade. Pretty cool, right? Actually looking like a real blade. That's pretty cool. Alright, so that was pretty much it for the blade. Let's go ahead and get started on the hilt. I'm going to tab into edit mode on my actual blade. And actually, right here at the bottom, we need to add one more crease. So let's go back to vertice select mode. I'm going to select the bottom. Mesh, edge, go up there. Edge crease, drag it to the right. Nope, did not grab all of it. Make sure you grab all of the vertices, front and back and everything on the bottom side here. So, now let's do it again. Mesh, edge, edge crease, pull it to the right. There we go. So now the bottom of our blade is ready for a hilt. That actually worked a lot better than the first time I did this. I tried to do it by eye, do it by hand, it didn't work. So with these vertices selected, I'm just going to go ahead and click Mesh, Snap, Cursor to Selected. And that's going to center my cursor, my 3D cursor, right in the center of that blade, at the bottom of the blade. So now all we need to do is Shift A and add a mesh circle. And as you can see, it is right in the center of our blade where we want it. Woohoo! Yay, we did something right. Okay, so let's tab into edit mode. And I'm going to space these out just a little bit here. Let me see. Got one here, we got one here. So 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Alright. So, as you can see, these are our middle vertices. This is the middle top and bottom. This is the middle left and right. We're going to go 3 vertices in between, which is going to leave 2 empty vertices on both sides. So let's unselect those middles, and let's select the 3 on the outside. 1, 2, middle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, middle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, middle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, middle. 1, 2. We did it right. Yay! Woo! And I'm going to just scale this inward. Right about here. And I think I'm going to actually scale these out just a tick. Let's see. Maybe. This might not work. Let me see. Nah. I'll leave it. It's fine. It's good. Okay, so now that we have that, let me go to my front view. And I'm going to select it all and extrude it on the Z-axis. Want it about, just eyeball it. We'll go right about there for thickness wise. And let's go ahead and make a face by hitting F. That'll give us a face on the top, no face on the bottom. We'll make a face on the bottom soon, just not yet. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude and right click so it places it in the same exact location again. And I'm going to scale it. Scale it down just about, right about there. Gives you just a little lip on the side of it there. Now I'm going to extrude it on the Z-axis down about right there. That gives us just that little edge. Okay, so let's just pretty much do the same thing for the bottom. Let's go ahead and extrude and scale it inwards. And extrude. Oops. Extrude it on the Z. And let's go ahead and make a face. Oh, I extruded it too far on the Z. No, actually, I think I did it about right. Let's just move our blade up a little bit. We just don't want our blade sticking out the bottom here. Let's pull that up right about there. There we go. Okay, so now we have all these bumps. You can see that we have these ridges across our hilt here. We don't want those ridges. So how do you get rid of the ridges like this? You smooth shade it, right? Maybe. Oh, I did it on my blade. Okay. Anyways, select the hilt, then hit smooth shade. And look what it did. Oh, it ruined it. Ah, it looks terrible. Yuck. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you how to fix this. So what we're going to do is add a modifier. And it's going to be an edge split modifier. Ta-da! We no longer have ridges except for where they're supposed to be. Edge split basically will make objects appear smooth. These rounded objects will appear smooth, while hard objects will still get seams, will still look nice and hard. If you understand what I'm talking about, because I feel like I'm not making any sense today, Please forgive me if this is just completely impossible to understand. I'm trying. This is something brand new for me, so yeah. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, our hilt is kind of looking a little small. I might actually scale it up. That looks a lot better, actually, so let's just go with that. Okay, so now that we have that, somehow our sword is through the stinking bottom of it again. Let me grab that on the Z, make sure that's up there. Okay, so let me grab the hilt again. I'm going to tab into edit mode, and with this bottom face selected, which it already is for me, if it's not for you, just go to face select mode, select that face, mesh, snap, cursor to selected. Then we can tab out, shift A, mesh, circle. And there's our circle. So now if I hit Control 7 on my numpad, that'll bring me to the bottom view. That'll give us a much better view to work off of. Okay, let's go ahead and scale that circle down. Scale it down right about there, maybe? Yeah, okay, that's about right. Now we're going to scale that on the x-axis, because the katana handles are kind of, I don't know, oblong. That still might not be enough. Let me scale that in on the Y a bit, I guess. Pull it in about there. Okay, that should be about right. Okay, so now I'm going to tab into edit mode on that. Make sure I'm back in vertice select mode, or else circles will not allow you to operate on them. There we go. Let's extrude that on the Z. And we're going to extrude it just a bit, like right about there maybe. Yeah, that'll be okay. And then we're going to extrude it just a teensy, no, extrude it and right click, keep it where it's at, and then we'll go back to our 1. We'll just scale that down just a little smidgen right there. Oops. Now we'll extrude that down again on the Z. And now we can zoom out, kind of get an idea of how big our handle needs to actually be, which I think right about there is going to be about right. And I'll extrude it one more time, right about here, and then just scale that down a little bit, and make sure, since it is open down here, there's no face, make sure you hit the F key to make face. Okay, so obviously our normals are messed up again. You can tell it's much darker, so let's select everything with A, mesh, normals, recalculate. And we have these ridges again. Now this time we want to just completely smooth shade it. We don't want to mess with the edge splits. We could, because this is actually a metal piece up here. I'm not going to. It's really not worth the effort. Okay. So, now that we have that, let's go ahead. Actually, I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to tap back into edit mode. Okay, so to get back to where I was here, let's box select the top of these vertices, and let's shift D to duplicate them, and right click to place them right over the top of the other one. And then we're just going to hit P and selection. That's going to make it a brand new object. So now we can tab out of edit mode and click as close as we can. There it is. You'll see it just selects this top ring. Just ignore this stupid dotted box over here. I hit something on accident. I don't know what I hit. I've never seen this before in my life, and it won't go away. So just pretend like it's not there, because it won't show up in our render. Anyways, now that this is here, let's go ahead and drag this down on the Z. Oh yay, it made 2 of them. Okay, anyways, let's tab into edit mode. Let's extrude it down on the, select them all, extrude it down on the Z. Extrude it down right about, right about there. That's good. Okay, so now we're going to loop cut twice horizontally, and then we'll scale that on the Z right about here. Now let's add one more loop cut to the center and go back to our vertice select mode. We want from here Let's see what looks good. We'll skip 2. So let's grab out our knife tool. If you've never used the knife tool before, it is nice and it is also frustrating. Click on the knife tool. Let's go from the center vertice. First of all, hit your Z key. That's going to allow this to cut all the way through the mesh. If you don't do that, it's going to cut one little edge, maybe, possibly. But let's select this middle vertice. Then we want to come straight down and go 1, 2, boom. Click on that vertice. You'll see it still wants to drag things around. Don't worry about it. Hit the enter key. Boop. We now have a cut. And it is straight across. So now we're going to do that to make a nice diamond shape. So let's go ahead and knife, hit your Z key, go from here to here, and enter. Boom. Do it again. Knife, Z key, boom. 1, 2, boop, and enter, and knife, Z, click, and click, enter, boom. There we go, we have our diamond shape. So let's go to face select mode. We're just going to select those faces we just created with our knife tool. And X, delete faces. So while we're in here, let's go ahead and select everything in mesh normals, recalculate. And we're going to smooth shade that as well. And what we now want to do is add an array modifier. So back to our modifier tab. Let's go add modifier array. You can see it goes to the right. We do not want that, so let's go 0. This is our Z coordinate. We want it to go down on the Z coordinate, so we're going to go -1. Ta-da! Now that we have -1, let's just keep applying a new count. 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's go 7. And that's it for the modeling. So the modeling of the sword is completely done. And it doesn't look half bad. The blade actually might be a teeny tiny bit big. Let's just shrink that down a little bit. No, let's shrink it down on the X. I think it's a little wide. So let's shrink it down on the X. Ooh, that's, ooh, yeah, yeah, ooh, that is nice, right, that's perfect, that is perfect, that did the trick. Now it looks like a katana. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to take a quick break here and I'll be right back to show you guys how to add materials to it, because it's can be kind of confusing. We're going to be using a new type of shader that you've probably never used before called Anisotropic for the blade. Alright guys, I'm back. So let's get into doing the materials of this. Let's start out with the easiest one first. Let's go ahead and select this diamond pattern here. And let's go to our materials tab. Just going to select new. And let's name it handle black. And there is nothing fancy to this whatsoever. Diffuse, and we're just going to drag this down, not all the way black, but a decent amount. I think maybe like a 0.2, 0.02 for all of these. Probably about good enough. Okay, so now we'll click on the actual handle itself, and we're going to do the same thing, new. Let's go handle white. And I'm just going to leave it right where it's at. Except, there's a couple things that we need to do here. So, let's go ahead and select everything and assign that. Now, we need to select these faces here. And these faces here. And let's go new. We're going to call this bronze. And we just want to change this to a glossy shader. And we want it to be somewhere around and about, yeah, I'm colorblind, so I don't know. Let's put it right about here. And for the roughness, we want like a 0.25, I think. And I think that's pretty good. So now make sure you assign that one to these faces here. And we can tab out of edit mode. And for the actual hilt here, we want the bronze. So we're just going to reselect that. Okay, so everything is done except for the blade. Obviously, you can do some fancier things. This is obviously supposed to be like a lace or something tied around it. If you wanted to add like a rope or a string or something kind of texture around it, or add the bump map or the normal map to it and kind of, I don't know, give it an overlay so that it looks a little better. I'm just going real basic here, guys. Same with like the inside of here. A lot of times there's designs in here, there's designs on this. You guys can kind of use your imagination and mess around with that. I'm not going to, I just want this to be real quick and basic for you guys so that you understand kind of what you're getting into. So, we are on to the blade. And before we even start the blade, let's go to our world tab. And I'm going to use an HDR lighting setup. So under color, I'm going environment texture, open, textures, HDR, and right in here, and I'll make it like a 3. And if you don't have an HDR lighting setup, this is going to be a lot harder. I'm going to actually remove this lamp too while I'm at it. But you can add in a couple of sun lamps, something like that. It's just really hard to get glossy objects to look correctly without an HDR image, because it needs something in the world around it to reflect, or else you just get kind of white parts and then dull parts, and that's it. You don't get any kind of reflection whatsoever. So let's go ahead and go into our actually make sure your blade is selected and then go into rendered view mode. And our background is still visible. Let me go into my camera setting and all the way down under film, click transparent. And you can see how the rest of this kind of turned out. Actually, the bronze turned out better than I thought it would. Thought we were going to have to mess with that. Anyways, now that we have that, it's time to add the blade. So let's go in here and click new. And I want to name this blade light, and we're going to be using the Anisotropic shader. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. Anisotropic? 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 Whatever, your guess is as good as mine. Anyways, you pop that on and you can look at it. Basically does the exact same thing as a glossy shader right now. And that's not exactly what we want. So, first things first, something I forgot to do. Let's go back to our normal view, solid view, whatever. Click tab, go into edit mode, A to select everything, and then we want to hit U, project from view. And that's going to give us a UV map for it that we're going to use for our Anisotropic shader. So now we can tab out of that, go back to our rendered view mode, and okay. So right here under tangent, that's where we want to add texture coordinate UV. And obviously you don't see anything change. That's perfectly fine. It's just giving the object sort of a basis of how it's going to be shaped. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. That's I'm at a loss for words. Good luck, guys. Anyways, what we want to do here is we want to add just a bit of roughness. I think I went with a 0.02. Let me get a nice zoom in on this blade here so you can see what's going on. 0.02 might be a bit much. Let me go 0.01. Is that too glossy? No, that's probably about right. For the Anisotropic, that is basically the amount of streaks that you're going to get throughout your lighting. I know there's probably a more better definition for that, but that's the way that I have learned it, so I'm going to up that to a 0.7. And the rotation, I think, did I go 0.2? Was it 0.2? 0.2 might be too much. Is it too much? I'm just kind of looking it over here, guys. Only messed with this shader a couple times, so sometimes I gotta just mess around with it, see how it looks. Okay, so I think that we've got that about right. So let me go back out of into solid view here, and obviously we have this assigned to everything. So we want to tab out of edit mode, add a new shader, and we're just going to grab that blade light again, but we're going to hit this little 2 so that it makes it its own material. So now we can rename this to blade dark. And all we want to do is just take the color and drag it down. Just a little bit of a gray. And we want to, let's see, which would be easier. Let's assign everything to blade dark, and then we'll click blade light, and let's grab the very edge of the blade like this. Even this little teeny tiny one we've got up here, and we're gonna have to flip this over and do the other side as well. So flip and click and click. And then we've got blade light and assign. Now we can tab out of edit mode. Let's go back into our rendered view and see what we've got. This might still be a little too mirrored. Maybe I didn't make that 0.2. Maybe I made it 0.02. Nope. 0.7 is right. 0.02. 0.1. Let's go way up on that. This is not wanting to turn out the way that it did before. 0.5. Let's give it something crazy here. 0.01. Okay, I think that that's where we want it. Let me go back to my normal solid view. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-0 on my numpad. That's going to bring my camera way in. And I'm going to bring my samples up to 100. And I'm just going to give this a quick render and see what it looks like. Yes! Aha! That is perfect. That is exactly what we're looking for. So that gives us real deep, nice bevels. The only thing is I could probably stand to make this darker. So let me go to my materials while I'm still here. Let me go to my blade dark. And let me lower that even more. Something right about there. And let's give that one more render here. Much better. Much better. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. So, if you're confused as to what actually went down here, if you look, what this really kind of does is it pulls these streaks from all of the reflections that you're getting, and it pulls them towards the direction of the normals that we created up and down the blade, which gives it sort of like a brushed metal look to it, which is actually what we want for a sword. I went through and kept looking and looking and looking at swords and blades and trying to figure out, you know, what kind of metal they use. From what I can tell, most of it looks very, very brushed, like a brushed steel. So, now that we have that, let me go back into my render view one more time. There we go. Now it's looking much better. Excuse me. So, like I said, you can always add a little bit of a grunge to the hilt of the blade. You can always go in and mess around with these anisotropic settings just a little bit. Tweak it to your liking, however you want to do. This is the best setup that I have found for blades, so I would highly recommend using this. The rest of it is kind of up to you. I really wanted to focus on getting the right texture for these blades. So, that is basically how you make a sword in Blender. You can see that we've got a nice edge, really sharp edge on that. We've got sort of the sharper brushed steel on the outside and the darker colored one on the inside, with the black diamond shaped cover for the hilt. We've got this bronze shape here. The rest is up to you. Just add a little bit of grunge to it, or add a little nice design down the hilt. Maybe get a picture of some shoestrings or something and use a normal map for that to make these to make the laces on here a little bit better. You could put a dragon or something and just texture that over the side and make it look a little more interesting that way. Whatever you want to do, it's completely up to you. This is the basics of how to make a sword, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any more suggestions on anything that you'd like to see modeled in Blender, go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I can't promise everything. I'm not a complete master at this. I'm not a genius in Blender, but I will work on it and I will do my best, because I do it for the community. I do it for you guys. I hope these help you out and give you an idea, give you a good jumping off point to start your own projects. Thank you guys for watching.